All right, welcome back to Activated Mornings on WFM 99.9. Remember, you can hit us up on the WhatsApp at 784-457-9994. You can also call us at 457-9997. All right. So it is now 13 minutes after the 9 o'clock hour. We're going to take you up until 9:45, which means we've got 32 more minutes left on the Inside with You. And by we don't mean we're from 99.9. Yes, we could mean that too, but I mean Dr. Gerald Thompson and yours truly, Christal. All right, so if you're just joining, welcome, welcome, welcome. If it's your first time, first day, first week, good morning to you. You're going to have a good time. Now, in this segment here, right, by the way, we're live on Facebook and YouTube as well. So this was a special request from a listener. He wanted us to discuss, if you don't live in a country, should you comment on the country's affairs? We could bring that home to SVG. All right. Last time we had it, didn't give it justice, so we're going to do it again. If you don't live here, you're Vincentian, but you're living abroad, whether Canada, US, UK, wherever, Australia, you should not be commenting or offering suggestions on local affairs. Say outside, stay outside. When you come home, then you can speak. Do you agree or disagree? You can hit us up on the WhatsApp 79994 and let us know. So let's go. Oh boy.
I have lived.
You're afraid to answer it?
I have lived in England.
Mm-hmm.
I've lived in the United States, and a couple of other parts of the Caribbean. And we are a dispersed people.
Mm-hmm.
We are not just dispersed as Vincentians, we are part of an OECS community. We're part of a Caribbean community. We're part of a wider diaspora of Black, Indian, mixed Portuguese people. And we're also part of the world. If there's an earthquake in Haiti or an earthquake in Turkey, we comment on it. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
If there's atrocities being done in Africa, China, America, or right-hand civilization, we comment on it, depending on where, irrespective of where it is. So Vincentians at home have an equal right as Vincentians abroad. And definitely, I, having lived abroad and having fought to be able to comment, I can't see how living here, I could tell people, because you live overseas, you cannot comment anymore unless you come to St. Vincent. But that goes against the whole concept of electronic media, as we've been talking about, because that's the means of bringing people. As a matter of fact, there's nothing wrong with people abroad commenting, sharing ideas, giving their own views on things. I think it's all good. It's just that they have to get sometimes the information right and be prepared. And if they say something, someone can also say, I disagree with you too. So their right to speak, their freedom of speech, is also my freedom of speech to be able to say, I disagree with them. But they certainly have that ability to say, and we must have that in our society. You know?
Okay. What if that person is a very influential individual and there is a particular issue that is happening here in a city call? Hello, good morning.
Good morning.
Morning.
Yeah.
Your 2 cents.
Yeah, so your topic, you're saying people from the diaspora shouldn't comment on things happening in St. Vincent.
Do you agree or disagree? It's a question. It is a question.
I think that has mainly to do with politics, If you live abroad and you support the ULP and you talk in favor of the ULP, the ULP supporters ain't gonna say it. Oh well, I'm overseas. You shouldn't say nothing, and vice versa to the NDP. Same thing. Same thing in America. The same thing if you from somewhere else and you criticize the Republican or the Democratic. He's not from. Well, you don't go back to his country. He's criticizing us here. But if you're from the same time from overseas, from another country, and you live in America, but you support Donald Trump, the people who support Donald Trump, they ain't gonna say nothing. They're gonna say, "Why you don't go back to his country? Why you criticizing America?" So I think it has to do with politics for any most thing. Your political, whatever your political flavor is,
Really?
you're not supposed to criticize.
I'm not sure about that. Christal, I'm not sure. I want him to stay on the line here.
I mean, you gotta put politics in everything.
Yeah, well, politics is everything.
Well, listen.
Say-
Let me
Latino.
ask something. Let me ask something. I tell you, certain parts of Europe, let's say the UK, for years they have been pressuring St. Vincent to relax its marriage act to allow people of same sex to be married here in St. Vincent, or people to be able to walk on a beach that's nude and so forth, right? There are certain international pressures that come from not only governments, but organizations and so forth, saying you should not support Cuba, or you should go with mainland China as opposed to Taiwan. Now, whether those things are politics or not, there are people who have their view. Now, we have an expression in terms of we love the Israelis and the Jews, and we love the Palestinians. I want to say that there are other things that may border on politics, because as you say, everything is politics, but there are things that don't seem to be quite politics. They seem to be just opinions, personal opinions. Because if somebody is political and says something, there can be people here who will support them and people who will disagree with them. You know what I mean? In other words, if you are an NDP supporter and you say something, there are people who are NDP who will applaud you and say, good, I'm glad you said that. Whether they express it on the text or they express it in the comments or they call in and say so, they may be saying that in their hearts. Whereas somebody else may say something different because they support a different party. So I agree there's the political tinge, but everything definitely is not politics,
Okay.
And so,
All right,
A
cool.
lot of it is politics. A lot of it is politics.
A lot, not everything. All right, so I think we understand where you're coming from. Hello?
All you're talking about the Rihanna. It's just Rihanna performed. She didn't have any guest performers, but I know Shaggy and Sean Paul was supposed to be there, but they didn't have it.
Yeah, I heard that
it's
too.
true, it's true.
Just Rihanna alone.
But you loved Rihanna, right? You loved it, eh?
No, I didn't like the performance. It's kind of boring.
Yeah.
I see her perform live already, and it does. But I understand the circumstances with she, and she cannot,
What are the
give,
circumstances?
100%. We all see it. We don't even have to see it.
I didn't see it, so
You
what's
didn't
it?
see it. Well, Dr. Thomas will tell you. Dr. Thompson.
She's a little endowed, yeah. She's a little endowed in truth.
Endowed again?
All right.
Must be nice.
Yeah.
All right, thank you.
Tom, hold on. Dr. Thompson was saying you change your hairstyle. Is it braids you have?
Go on the left.
No.
No.
I'm now on Facebook. but
No, you're on YouTube, but look us up on YouTube.
YouTube, yeah, okay. All right.
Yeah, I mean,
Oh, you mean you'd love to see Christal in braids, or
I
you'd love
think
to
he'd
see
laugh.
Christals in a nice fluffy fro? Which one?
Queens will
I
laugh.
like braids. I like braids. So.
Queens will laugh.
All
And then
right.
call me tomorrow morning.
All
I'll laugh
right.
again.
All right.
All right.
All right.
Thank
later.
you. Take care. All right. See some things about Rihanna there. Okay, so let's get some responses on somebody saying the world in general. And good morning. I disagree. SVG is my home, no matter how long I stay away. I live abroad, but my money comes home.
Yes.
Come home.
They buy their own property here.
Yeah.
They
And
help
family
support
too.
family members, and so forth. I agree with you, brother.
And to the case of disposal of the young lady, the penalty that applied to me is crazy. One of you said it's an example, but I don't think so. He should be charged at least $5,000 as an example. That's the earlier story. $1,000 ain't
it's
no money.
up to
$1,500.
100,000, up to 100,000. You know, up to 100,000. So going from,
you only get
going
charged
from
with that?
1,000 to you know, there would also be circumstances when somebody pleads guilty and admits that they did it and so forth and things like that. You know what I mean? And they come and they show some contrition. They show that they were very sorry. They were emotional. You know, they had really liked the girl and they didn't really want the person. All them sort of things. The judge has some leeway in terms of doing that. But I think it is something of a warning being the first case, you know, because guess what? You also assess the means of the individual. If the individual does not seem to be an individual who come with $100,000, then you are committing them to jail.
What does that have to do with just because you look like you can't afford it?
No,
So
then sentence them to jail.
Well, maybe you should have think about that before you do what you did.
No. The point about it is that the way the law works, if the situation, if it can be either or both, that's one thing, I agree. But if they are putting one thing and they say you have to pay this by a certain time or this amount of time, the issue of doing it, right? And this is where I was making I don't see a difference with publishing the nude pictures and then physically assaulting the person, sexually assaulting them, or beating them and drawing blood and so forth. I see all those as being bad, but the court may see that one is a more serious type of offense than the other. You know?
Okay, all right. So let's go back to this segment's question or topic here.
Yeah.
All right. So the question, if you're just joining us, go again, boy. Rihanna's bump distracted me for a little bit. If you don't live here, don't comment on anything that happens here. All right, here's another response. Somebody says, if we can't have any say, and this is somebody in the diaspora, in our country, shut down the Western Union and MoneyGram. Also, we would stop sending stuff through customs. And anytime there is a national disaster, we won't help either. So you see what side they are obviously on.
Yes.
That they should. I think they should. Of course.
Who came up with something like that? Has that been said?
Sometimes it comes up in discussions because there are some people, there are some Vincentians who live abroad who have the most amount abroad, but when they come home, there is no action. For example, you would be on social media encouraging Vincentians to do this, that, and terror here, but you come back and you sit in the corner and you don't contribute. But for somebody who would encourage people to go and protest, but if they were home, they would never go on the picket line.
But there are people here in St. Vincent who, in the same way, would encourage people to protest, but they ain't going on no picket line either.
Okay,
you know,
fair point.
And they would make
doesn't
comments from their bedroom and so forth, but they ain't coming out. You know, I say the same thing.
Yeah, and sometimes it comes in discussion when. Okay, so some conversations, it's more difficult if you're not on the ground in that said country to understand maybe culturally at that point in time what is happening with a particular situation.
I'll tell you something.
So the conversation might be, or the meaning might be lost here and there.
You may be right on a general basis, but I am from Chateaubriand.
You're from Chateau?
I'm from Chateau. I was born in Chateau. I'm what do you call it? A Sharps Gallon. I'm also from Stubbs and Rose Hall, Spring Village, and so forth.
You all over.
All over. But there may be Christal, you may not know much about Chateaubriand. Or if I said I was from Fancy, you may not know much about Fancy.
Right.
But someone abroad may have their thumb on the pulse and know exactly what's going on a lot more in Chateaubriand than what you may know. So general topics, you may have an idea because you're on the ground, but you may not really hear about it. Some folks in the diaspora hear things quicker than we hear it down here.
As it is, that is true, you know.
Yes.
Sometimes
The only way to hear is somebody from
sometimes
overseas posting
I
it.
hear a million comments from persons in the diaspora,
Yes.
and I write it right under my nose, and they find out way before I do.
Mhm.
It happens. All right. Some more responses are coming in on the WhatsApp there. Here we go. By the way, it's 9:28. Hi, Christal and Doc. We all have an opinion. I think one should be able to comment on matters in St. Vincent,
Yeah.
regardless if we live in the diaspora or anywhere else in the world, once we have concrete facts. All right. I like that last part. That once we have concrete facts.
That's the point. That's the point. Thank you very much, sir.
Yeah.
Concrete
Ma'am.
facts.
This is a ma'am.
I mean, you're allowed to be wrong, you know. You're allowed to be wrong. But once it has been proven that you're, don't just keep on pushing.
If you know you're wrong.
pushing.
Yeah. If you know you're wrong.
Man, listen.
Sometimes
I'll tell you, I want to harken back to the pandemic. I mean, some crap that people were pushing, you know? And then this goes to other areas of discussion. Some people push some real crap and they know it's wrong, but they're having a good laugh. They're having a good laugh.
Yeah. Yeah. You know, as you mentioned that, I'm reminded there were some people overseas who were telling Vincentians not to take the vaccine for political reasons. But they had already taken it.
They're taking it. They're taking
And
it.
they were about to take it because their job required them to do it.
Yes.
And that's another thing too, right? So you would travel overseas and you would abide by the laws of that country.
That's the thing.
But you would come back home and not want to abide by our laws. Or you would stay from over there and tell us, okay, do this, break the rules, be unruly, encourage people to not abide by the rules of the land.
Mm,
But over there where you come from, you can't do that.
yes.
You cannot do that. And I mean, it goes a little bit deeper than that in terms of policing and law and order and so on. But where you are, you can't do certain things.
Mhm.
But you would tell people to do whatever back home. That's a no-no. All right. Now it is 9:30. Doc, you had something else that you wanted to throw out this morning, or
Well, you know, not specifically. I mean, I
Okay.
do want to say that in the upcoming weeks, I do want to talk a little about an aspect of medicine called medicinal cannabis, medical marijuana, and so forth. And so I'm going to frame that. And I would tell persons when we're going to talk a little about that. I think it's an important topic. The other thing I want to tell you about is that,
so we'll know it before
yeah,
then.
guess what, Christal?
Sometime coming up.
Have I said it before? I've said it before. I'm saying it again. Do you know prostate cancer has overtaken breast cancer as the leading cause of cancer in St. Vincent and the Grenadines?
Prostate.
Prostate
Men.
for men, poor men.
That's
You understand? I think part of it, I'm talking about leading cause of prostate cancer and prostate cancer deaths. You know, in a couple of years, the incidence of breast cancer is higher, but prostate cancer has been jumping to the roof. And guess what we've been finding? We've been finding a lot of pesticides, even plastics and things like that are causing these things. You have a couple of messages.
yeah. All right. Good morning, Queen Christal and Dr. Thompson.
Mhm.
I have no problems with persons that live abroad commenting on issues that's going on in the country, especially if it's for positivity. But telling persons how to live, who to vote for, what to do to cause changes, that's not for us. I listen to persons calling from abroad, telling people to strike, telling persons to go and destroy the machines for the stone company, telling persons not to send stuff for their families if they vote for one party or the next, telling people don't take vaccine and lose their jobs, which is what we just shared, they aren't the ones to suffer the consequences. Some groups even organize protests from abroad. Some of us cannot even affect change in the countries that we live in abroad. We are Vincentians by birth. We love Vinci, but I don't live home, so I'd keep out of Vinci business. Well,
Yes.
that's a spinner, and that's coming from somebody who's living overseas.
Yes. Well, I wouldn't agree with the individuals who say to keep out of Vinci business. Believe it or not, the vast majority, I say vast majority, there are a lot of Vincentians who went overseas and have not looked back. Some have fallen
Yeah.
on tough times. Some have just got immersed in the culture of the country they've gone to, anywhere in the world, not just America, Canada, or England, many other places, Africa, South America, and they are now part of that new country. In the same way that people have come here and adopted St. Vincent as their homeland, you know?
Point.
And we still want you involved. You're part of the Vincentian diaspora. We love you. You're considered to be Vincentian. And if you weren't even born here and you're the son or daughter of a Vincentian, one of your parents, you're also Vincentian.
Hey,
We
man,
love you.
come home.
And stay involved, you know. And if there's a need for people to strike or people to protest, then there's nothing wrong with expressing that, because sometimes people got to stand up for their rights. But again, as a couple of callers said before, get the facts. We got to get all the facts.
As it concerns protests and standing up for your rights, I think it really should not boil down to your friends and family and Vincentians in the diaspora having to use their platforms to encourage us here living and experiencing firsthand, them encouraging us to protest when we feel that injustice has been served against us, or we feel oppressed or depressed, or whichever oppressed it is. I think that is something that justifiably, if you feel that you have been put at a disadvantage, before anybody else have to come and say, get up and go and speak for yourself, you should be the first one to get up and speak for yourself. Whether it might be a protest, whether it might be via the media, once you have your facts right, and it's not coming from a place of hate or a personal attack against somebody or an organization, and it turns into something that's political and you lose your mission and it goes and what's not. People shouldn't have to be pushing you and prompting you to stand up for yourself. You understand? But that's just how I see it sometimes. We're a little too passive sometimes with certain things. They sit down and they grumble, and then the same thing happens tomorrow. You sit down and they grumble again. Same thing happens next week, and you sit down and they grumble again. Get up. Speak for yourself.
You know, I am not sure how many instances take place where something is initiated in the diaspora. I think that things may be initiated here, and people from the diaspora may lend their support or agree. Just like our caller from Long Island. He may call in and agree with something that has been discussed for a couple of days, a couple of weeks. He's expressing his opinion. I see nothing wrong with that.
Yeah, there's nothing wrong.
It may be interpreted that he's pushing the agenda. You know what I mean? And he's the one that caused it or created it or initiated it. But it's usually not the case. It's usually initiated locally, you know, and we got to fight. I think St. Vincent is a lot stronger when there's that bond with other. Over Christmas, around Carnival time, boy, I tell you, the place is that much better when the folks come home. You know what I mean?
I wish they could come home more often.
Well,
But,
that
you know,
depends on the flight or the cost of
flights,
The cost of
economics,
flight.
getting time off from your work and
Yes,
so on.
yes,
So kudos to you know. Thank you to all the folks who contribute to our social and economic development. You don't live here, but you have family here, and you make sure you look out for your family. And even to go as far as helping
Mm.
For those family members who want to leave as well, I mean, we hate to see you go, but if it is that it's better for you,
Yeah.
then by all means, shout out to the folks who help other Vincentians improve their lives.
Yeah.
Let me put it that
Yeah.
way. Here's another one. They obey the laws of their adopted country but want to disobey the laws of SVG.
Oh,
I think lots of Vincentians could only live here in SVG because they will try to bring down SVG, but only here they could do their own thing and get away with it. What annoys me sometimes with this one
I
here,
do agree with that. Mhm.
I've seen it, right? From time to time, where there are one or two, it's not very popular, thank God, persons who live abroad, and you could tell they live abroad,
Yeah.
and they come back home and they don't want to follow certain simple rules.
Mhm.
That irritates me a lot because you're coming from a place, you don't do that over there, right? What you should be doing is encouraging people to follow the rules by way of example.
Christal, that goes
Just
the other way too.
simply two
Christal,
in
that goes the way
between.
too. I remember the first time I went to Canada, they were telling me about jaywalking. I'm not supposed to walk across the street unless the lights tell me. I don't know why I wanted to walk across the street. And I did. I disobeyed those particular laws and so forth. Should I may have regretted it. I regretted it. But I wanted to walk across the street because where I was living in England, I could walk across the street. Just because of the rules that I went down to the
Did
United
you stop
States.
after a while?
I went down to the United States
Let's
and
take a call. Let's take a
yeah.
call. Hello, good morning.
Yes, good morning.
Good morning.
Yeah, Christal and Doc. I just want to support that a lady who talk about WFM for all the years. I'm a Vincentian living in the Virgin Islands, and WFM has always been my station, station of choice.
Nice.
And what she said was really true. What she said is true because, I listen to the presenters, I listen to everybody, and I am really pleased to, tune in every day, especially in the morning now. Wednesdays with Bones Bonadi. I do like to hear Bones Bonadi and Shake Up. And I think you bring a difference also. But what I'm going to say here is that I listen also to the females on WFM. And I think they are really doing much better than the guys. I mean, so sorry to say that, but
Why are you sorry
wanna
to say
support-
that? Man, you know what?
But I mean,
Repeat it.
no, serious. On a serious note, though, yeah, that the ladies are doing much better. You listen to the ladies. There's a lady. She comes on for Shake Up and from 10 o'clock,
Mm-hmm.
and I listen to her comparing with them other guys, and she's like really out of the park when it comes to them guys. I mean, I like everybody. I like
We're all
everybody,
doing
but
very
I'm
well,
really
yes.
yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, so also their TikTok. I follow up on TikTok.
You follow us
You
on
know,
TikTok?
Yeah. I mean, yeah, I like to listen back. I listen back practically every day, and WFM really is my station of choice. I'm living in St. Croix, but I do not tune into our stations every day. If I go in my truck right now, as soon as I put on my engine starts, it's WFM. Right through the day.
Thank you so
Yeah,
much.
so,
I gotta
I mean-
save your number on the WhatsApp.
yeah,
Send us a
it
message
is.
when you
It's a good-
finish. You hear?
Huh?
Send us a message when you finish so I could save your contact.
No problem. I will do that. Yeah, man. But let me just wish everybody in Stevenson a wonderful morning and a productive day.
All right. Thank
Thank
you
you.
so much. You have a good one. All the way from St. Croix. Nice, huh?
Yes.
I was referring to the woman big up there.
What's that message? Is that a message?
Where have we gone? Where we can't communicate with each other?
We can.
We can, and
We
we should
can
be able to
communicate.
communicate without fear, without favor, without disrespect.
But we can disagree
We can
sometimes,
disagree.
and we can agree to disagree.
Yes.
It's when we don't agree to disagree that's the problem.
When it turns disrespectful
Yeah,
and personal
disrespectful,
is when we
yes.
have a problem.
Yes, yeah.
For Dr. T,
You consider us as Vincentians.
wait, consider us Vincentians.
Yeah.
We are. Do you consider us like you do persons born elsewhere who adopt SVG as their home? What about you? So people So for example, you are an American, but you're living here. Do you consider them Vincentians as well?
Who, I'm American?
No, I think that's a question.
No,
If you are from a different
absolute-
country and you
I'll
live
tell you
here, do you
something.
consider them Vincentians as well?
Absolutely. If they've gone through, they become a resident or become a citizen, they're Vincentian because
If you're
imagine,
legally a Vincentian, then you're
there
Vincentian.
are tens of thousands of Vincentians who live in England who consider themselves as British citizens. There are tens of thousands living in the US and Canada. They're also Canadians, they're also American. They're Vincentian Americans, Vincentian Canadians. So who lives in Barbados, in Trinidad, you know, in Grenada, St. Lucia, in the southern part of St. Lucia, in Antigua, you know how much Vincentians living in Antigua? They're Vincentians. We love you. And basically, if the world, you know, the Philippines, a tremendous amount of people leave the Philippines to get work elsewhere and send money back home. Their cultures like that. And sometimes a country, it isn't that people go abroad just to work because they can't find work here. It's the nature of the world. America
This
is
is a possibility.
yeah,
A call
yeah.
is coming in. This one is gonna have to be really, really short. Hello, good
Yeah.
morning.
Christal, I'm really going to be short. I just want to support the gentleman that called from St. Croix.
Mm-hmm.
And the girls, well, I can't make it the girls, they can't get in trouble the last one. I say, boy, the ladies on the radio, I can listen to all day long because I don't give you the reason, you know.
Mm-hmm.
Guys and them cut short every single song they play.
Oh, so you mean?
I can't deal with that.
Okay.
Right?
I'll make
talk too
note.
much between- And they talk too much between the music as well.
Okay. All right. If the feedback
When I
is
listen to music, give me
appreciated.
music. Don't give me no yap in the music. You know what I mean?
All right. I
So,
appreciate the feedback.
so you like
Thank you.
Rihanna's performance during the Super Bowl?
I can't watch Rihanna and I don't like Rihanna, period.
Oh gosh, all right, okay. All right.
Rihanna singing Brilla, Brilla, Brilla. I can't deal with them foolishness.
Umbrella.
That's not a song for me.
Ella.
Brilla.
Hey,
Brilla, she
hey.
did nonsense. Listen to them foolishness. Anyway,
Thank you.
I old and I different. I take on them.
Well, she's a Caribbean
Okay.
woman. You
Thank
see?
you.
I
Even
don't
from
come from
Barbados,
me.
she's a
Don't bother me.
Caribbean woman. You know? Oh gosh.
All right. Okay. Thank you.
All right.
Have a good day. Have a good day. All right. We got to go now. We got to wrap
Crystal,
things up. Thank you so much, Doc, for stepping in this
It's
morning.
a pleasure.
Always.
And once again, everybody remember all those cyber crime issues and so forth are there to protect you, not to inhibit you and so forth or spy on you. They're really to prevent bad things happening to you. Okay, bye.
All right, take care. And with that, we're going to wrap things up on Activated Mornings for today. Thank you so much for your contribution, your calls, your WhatsApp messages.